Good evening everyone and welcome along to the Fantari Racing League. We are here for F1. It is Season 13, the Bahrain Grand Prix, here for pre-season race number 1. My name is James Hay, going to be taking through the stream as always, and joining me in the commentary box for the first time this season, it is Mr. FRL Charlie. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you for having me here, and it feels great to be here to commentate for the first time.
It does, and it's his first commentary, so it's a bit of a baptism of fire for our Charlie over here, but I'm sure we're going to take you through all of the action that is going to unfold, of course, out on track, and we are also running simultaneously alongside F2, so if you want to try and double stream, you can. F1 and F2 both live. The F2 stream has just gone live as well, if you do want to tune in for that. But we have 15 drivers here within the lobby at the minute, including us two, of course, as spectators. So, running you through who we've got in the lobby, we've got Jensen, Macho, FRL Burrell, Bolstman, T-Hawk, Kazizzle, Surface, the Season 8 champion, Lars Kramer, Black Box, Tees, Lou, Nathan, Baraka, Rocco, and Denzo. Quite a select bunch, but I've got to say, quite an exciting grid.
Yes, so we have one driver missing, and that is Darktoon, so everyone's in apart from Darktoon, so not too bad, but it would be great to have everyone.
Yeah, it would be great to have everyone, but as I always say in these commentaries, quality is better than quantity, and that is what we've got to try and factor in. Of course, we're here in Bahrain around the Sakhir International Circuit, of course, and getting up the track map that we have. 18 minutes worth of qualifying, of course, 29 laps awaiting these guys out on track. It is dynamic weather, but it's normally bone dry in the desert here in Bahrain. 5.4 kilometers in length, 156.9 kilometers race distance as well. There are 3 DRS zones, of course, one down the start finish straight, one down in towards turn 4, and one down in towards the fearsome turn 11. Plenty of curb killing positions possibly out on track, including turn 12, which could be the pinpoint for some action and some crashing out on track. We hope that isn't the case, but these curbs are absolutely deadly on the game. And Charlie, coming into tonight, obviously, we've got the 3 DRS zones, we've got 15 drivers going to be doing well out on track. Who do you think, from what you have seen last season, who do you think is going to try and steal the win here tonight in pre-season?
I reckon it's either going to be Macho or Jensen, because Jensen was the championship winner, I believe, last season, and Macho done extremely well in F2, and he was looking quite strong for the Britons versus the rest of the world last season for F1. He managed to work very well with everyone else, so I reckon he's going to be up to the pace here in F1 this season.
Yeah, of course, Jensen defending champion coming into this season, and Macho, of course, won the F2 title last season, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how that is all going to unfold. I think it might have been F3, actually, that Macho won, ahead of T-Hawk, of course, his fearsome rival from back then last season, and it sets a whetting appetite, really, for how this race is going to unfold. Looks like we are getting started then to ready up into the lobby, so we should be about 30-35 seconds away, possibly, from starting up this race here tonight. Looking at you guys, of course, in the comment section. Of course, if you are new to the FRL channel, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. 659 subscribers that we are on. T-Hawk has also mentioned in the comment section that he's going to be so slow and he's barely had any practice. That doesn't set up well for his hopes, I think, in qualifying. As we are about to get going, of course, into the lobby here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the pre-season race about to begin. Pre-season race 1, of course. And hopefully you guys are all doing well here tonight in a very sultry northeast of England. I know Charlie, I think, is based in Dorset, if I'm not mistaken. So, sultry everywhere here in the UK. But sultry indeed for the desert, the jewel of the desert, of course. Rosberg against Hamilton back in 2014. Are we going to see similar scenes like that here tonight, or are we going to see maybe a Jensen domination? Who knows what is going to unfold, of course, out on track. But just waiting for the timer to go in the middle. 15 seconds to go until we get going. And Bunty has given you a lovely comment, by the way, Charlie, in the comment section. Charlie, please don't die on stream.
I'll be sure not to do that, Bonte. I'll be sure not to do that.
As I've said, this is his first commentary, and hopefully as time progresses and as we get focused on, of course, your voice settings apparently is not on share.
I think it is. Maybe they just made a mistake. I'll quickly check.
Quickly have a check. We are into the lobby, of course. Looks like we've got that minute glitch that we always have in these F1 games. 15 drivers about to do battle, of course, out on track. I can see the Mercedes garage readying up to take their two cars out. Jensen and Macho, of course, really strong team, I've got to say. And there's actually Macho out first ahead of Jensen, by the looks coming out the pit lane. And I think that's a McLaren of Burrell about to leave the pit lane as well. So, voice check with Charlie. Are we able to hear Charlie now on the stream?
I've checked all my settings and it is correct. Maybe they just misunderstood at first.
Never mind, he says. Never mind. So I think it might have been where I totally just shut up and then it went like very quiet for about 5 or 10 seconds. So it might have been that possibly. But we have got cars coming out onto the track. Postman's still in the lobby, in the pit lane, I should say. But Jensen one on the first out on track. He's actually second out on track with Macho just there. Macho is coming through turns 5, 6, and then in towards turn 7, of course, where Stroll famously rolled it. And Macho had a really strong season last season in F3, making a big jump up to F1. Is he capable to try and beat Jensen here tonight?
I reckon it's going to be very close between these two, extremely close, because these two are definitely going to be very quick with each other. And I reckon I could see these two being teammates for next season, considering the amount of pace they have.
Yeah, I could imagine it as well. As I say, it's a very strong partnership, I think, between these two. Of course, Jensen defending F1 champion, Macho defending F3 champion. We've obviously got Surface as well, former Season 8 champion, and Kazizel and Bolstman, who also I used to race against Kazizel and Bolstman. That's how old I've been in FRL. Rocco as well, Nathan, Black Box. It sets up, I think, this pre-season for a hell of a race, and hopefully you guys at home get treated, of course. And we're about to go then on board with a lap of Macho. As we now run down the straight in towards turn number 1. Yellow flag in sector 3. Don't worry about that at all. And with 15 minutes to go in the session, we've got the first car running down. If you can't hear the revs, by the way, it's a sound glitch. I'll just say that now. Macho down in towards turn number 1. Now through turn number 2. And that is Baraka just off the left-hand side. Baraka, of course, joining Leonis Racing in the last couple of days or so. And I'm looking forward to maybe commentating on him in the EML on Wednesday. But Macho now coming through turn number 4 up the hill there, through turn into 5, 27.5 through the first sector from Macho, so not looking too bad through this first sector. As he now comes through turn 6 and then in towards turn 7, heavy on the brakes and just snaps the rear end slightly, loses it slightly, but now in towards the fearsome section through turn 8, in towards the double left of turn 9 and 10, and then along the F2 pit straight. Of course, the F2 cars used to start around here in Bahrain a few years back. That was in the GP2 era. Now in the F2 era, of course, they start on the start-finish straight. Macho now down in towards turn 11, using up that DRS to try and get as much run as possible. And now in towards turn 12, Car Killer Corner, as I'm going to name it here tonight, at 104.7 through the middle sector from Macho. As Macho now comes through the end of the middle sector, coming in towards the end of the final sector, through turn 13, and then in towards a double right of 14 and 15. Looking like a competitive lap for Macho, as he now comes through turn 14, in towards turn 15. Don't worry about the yellow flags in sector 2. Macho towards the line. This is a quick lap to start off the night. It's a 26 flat for Macho. Really good lap. We've got Jensen on a set of mediums in behind him, and he goes 3/10 behind him with a 126.3. But that's more like it. Relentless Nathan to the top with a 25 flat.
And Nathan very flying on that lap, but 125 flat, 1 second quicker than Macho, and Borel actually barely missed out on Nathan there.
Yes.
Has Dizzle on the medium tire as well, but they've got invalid.
Yeah, because there's an invalid. Oh, Surface goes to the top, 24.9. Good lap there by the other Williams out on track. I think he actually might be in an Alpine, if I'm not mistaken. I'm getting confused with my colour schemes to the left-hand side, because this whole...
Surface is in a Red Bull and Nathan's in the Alpine.
Surface is in a Red Bull and Kazizel obviously is in a Williams. There's so many blue colours to the left hand side of the graphics. It gets me confused from time to time. Kazizel is starting up on another lap, it seems. But yeah, you mentioned Burrell, 4,000th of a second off Nathan. There he is in third. Nathan second. But very, very close between the top three. Barely a 10th of a second separating. Surface obviously Season 8 champion making an appearance as Black Box now goes to the top with a 24.9. So really, really good times coming in here. Rocco as well came in with a 25.3, I've just noticed, into 5th. But Black Box out on top, Surface second, Nathan in third. I'll tell you what, if these guys are separated by this far at the end of qualifying, we're going to set ourselves up for a really good race.
Yeah, I think Matcha might have made a mistake on his lap considering how far he is off, because he could have maybe had an error in one of the sectors there considering how far he is off the leaders. Usually he's not that far off.
He might have actually invalidated his lap possibly, and that's why he's set a 26 flat on his first lap. It seems like he's going to try and get a good run in, possibly to try and tie in with the tyre wear around here. And the tyre wear is so important to try and pick up on, because it wears off at about 5-6% a lap. And normally around Bahrain, that is crucial for tyre management, and tyre management will be the key around a track like this. Macho is 26 flat. I'm not sure if he's actually on a lap here in the Mercedes. Bolstman, however, is on a lap, and he's coming through in towards turn 10. He's just ahead, actually, of Macho out on track, and the Aston Martin now running down in towards turn number 11. Of course, Aston Martin, a good old-fashioned British name in British motorsport, and Bolstman is carrying that Aston Martin, formerly known, of course, as Racing Point last season. Bolstman now coming through the end of the middle sector. This is a quick middle sector from Bolstman, 103.8. He's about a second quicker than what we saw with Macho's middle sector. So, Bolstman should be towards the top end of the field by my calculations. Black Box out on top, so for second, Nathan and third. But where is Bolstman going to go? The old guard trying to get up towards the top end of the field. Runs wide through the final corner. He invalidates out the final corner. And that is a commentator's curse to start off the evening.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate from Bolstman, because I reckon he would have definitely done a very good lap there and would have had a fast lap than Macho. Macho moves back up to P8 with a 125.7 and not far off of Denzo now, just 10th, and hopefully he can move further up that grid, especially with Jensen, but of course he's on the mediums.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second improvement there from Macho in the Mercedes, and he'll be hoping to try and get up to the likes of Denzo, to the likes of Lou on his next laps. He runs wide there, coming obviously through turn 4. Tees was on the lap. He's invalidated, or he actually has backed off this lap. He's into the pit lane now. We have got Jensen and Nathan both out, and Nathan is a driver I want to try and put a little bit of focus on, because Nathan, I commentate on Nathan in League of Europe normally, and that's on a Saturday evening, and he is normally very, very quick around this track. However, his internet does like to play a few games with him, and that's all I'm going to say on that. But Nathan, if he's got the pace, as he has shown already, could he be possibly pole position by the end of tonight?
I reckon he could be on pole position. He could be one of those drivers to look out for as well, as you did say, as he's only a 10th off. And really, I think you would rather be having internet issues during pre-season testing rather than an actual race.
Yeah, definitely. I think Nathan will be hoping that his internet stays stable, is what I'm going to say. And he might be one of the guys, as I say, to watch on this lap. I'm just tuning in as well. F2 apparently is faster than F1, Bunty has said. Come on, guys, pick up the pace.
That's a bit of a shocker.
I'm just looking at the times. It's a 24.8 from Zero. So Zero 24.8. Yona in second with a 24.8. And Chris Alien with a 25.1. So currently our top 4 are actually 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in F2. Very, very good to see the consistency maybe between both tiers. But Nathan on the run down then in towards turn number 1. Comes across the line to start off then his lap, and he'll be hoping to try and improve a good 10.5 of a second to get ahead of Black Box on this lap. There's a Ferrari there of Rocco appropriately just behind him, joining up on a lap. So Nathan now coming through turn number 2, through turn 3, and now up the slight rise in towards turn number 4, where Grosjean of course had that horrific accident coming through in towards the exit of turn 3. But now through turn 4, and Nathan runs in towards the end of the first sector. It's a good first sector from Nathan, 27.3, and he's 400s up coming through turn 6 and 7. Doesn't catch the curb, and it's very nice and efficient through there. Surface also on a lap has just started up coming across the line. But Nathan on the run then in towards turn number 8, turn 9 and 10. Awaiting Nathan out on track, and now he's got to get really hard on the brakes. Comes out of the corner very nicely, opens up that DRS, and there the ERS also gets used up as well. The top half is for deployment purposes, the bottom half is for how much he actually saves going into a corner. So that's all you need to know about the ERS. Nathan, though, in towards turn 11, through turn 12, car killer corner, runs wide slightly, but he's 2/10 up, and this is a really good lap from Nathan, as he has to try and keep it clean, and he hasn't. Nathan has ran wide, coming through turn 13. That would have been a stonker of a lap if he got that in. He hasn't, and he's invalidated, and unfortunately for Nathan, he's not going to be on top. He does like to do this, though, I can tell you that.
That would have been a flying of a lap. That would have been on the pole position, I reckon, because of how much he was up. He would have been 3/10 up on that lap. But Jensen goes fast off them all now with a 124.9 by 0.03 of a second.
Yeah, really good lap. I'm on board with Surface, and Surface is not too far off the back of Black Box and Jensen's middle sector. And Surface is coming down in towards turn number 14 now. And the former FRL champion back in Season 8, back when I was around about driving in FRL.
Oh my goodness, Ty's had a big crash. Big crash in Sector 2 with Ty's there. He's out of qualifying now. And that was a horrific crash.
And Surface goes to the top at 24.8. And that is still not better enough than FT, so these guys really do need to get a move on. That's more like it. That's more like it. Kazizzle with a 24.7 to the top of the standings. Baraka goes fourth as well, 24.9. The top 8 are separated by 0.3 of a second.
Is this meant to mean that the track's getting a bit more quicker for these drivers there now?
Has to.
Considering how they're getting a lot more quicker than what they were before now.
It has to. I think as the track weathers in, obviously we're more than halfway through qualifying, and the track will really degrade in, and that is why we're seeing these improving lap times. Kazizzle Surface going on to pole position, Kazizzle now on pole. Boltzmann has just started a lap at 36.9, really not reflecting what he can do on a set of medium compound tyres. He should be around Rocco Denzel sort of area, possibly on that lap. But Macho on a lap coming in toward the end of the middle sector. And you mentioned, of course, that T's crash out. That was coming through the exit of turn 6 in towards turn 7 and 8. And that is one of the curbs that really can catch people out around here at Bahrain. And it's not surprising that the first man was T's. And he has obviously DNF'd out the session and won't be improving ahead of 13th.
And I reckon Macho might be on the hunt here, because if I'm correct, he's gone 0.3 quicker in Sector 1 here. He's gone through Sector 2 now, and he's gone 16 thousandths up, but it's not quite a lot, and he's backed off his lap. Yeah,
I think he's made a mistake coming through the end of the middle sector, maybe down in towards turn 10 perhaps. He's probably made up a little bit of a lock-up. He's either run wide, or he's just caught on the curb and took into half spin, and that's why Macho was obviously backed off this lap. If he was 2 tenths up in the first sector, goodness knows what he'll do in the middle and the final sector. He should be around Black Box, Lou, Nathan sort of area, in around those guys. But with 5 minutes to go in the session, because there's a lad on top, Surface second, Jensen in third. Macho one guy to watch, also one guy to watch, Lars Kramer, but he's actually invalidated coming through the end of the middle sector, and he's actually going to back off this up, and I believe he's going to come into the pit lane, the Dutchman. And he will. So Lars Kramer into the pits. Boltzmann, however, did improve 26.3 set of mediums. Normally, if I remember rightly from the last game, you'd improve around 1.3 seconds. So he should be on a 25 flat when he goes onto a set of softs.
Oh, and Macho! Macho's spun as well. Sector 2, the same area as Ty's. Luckily he's not out, he's got quite lucky there, but you're not expecting to see this from Macho.
Yeah, you're not really expecting, but I guess we're still very early on in the game cycle, and these guys are still getting used to the setups, the difference in the curb handling as well. And Macho just seems to me as if he's struggling through that middle sector, through that 6 and 7 complex, that left and right, that comes up very quickly. Macho has just got to try and find his groove through there, and if he does, he should be towards the top end of the standings. There's no question about it. Everyone's still in the pit lane though. We have got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and I don't know why it says lap 5, by the way, in the top. We're definitely not on lap 5, everyone who's tuning in to the stream.
I think that's the lap that he's on, so I think he's done a lot of laps here on the softs here. Actually, if you do look, he's done 3 laps on those softs, and he's coming in the pit lane now.
That makes sense.
People that aren't having the FVR not having a lot of luck. They haven't managed to set a valid lap yet.
Yeah, that's Lars Kramer down in 15th, hasn't set a valid lap. His teammate actually in VFR, FVR. Goodness me. Burrell, 25 flat, 8th position for him. So it does show that we have got really good pace within these guys. 4 minutes to go in the session. Grab a bit of popcorn, grab a cup of tea, I think, at this point. The final laps are about to begin. Jensen, I can see, moving about in the Mercedes garage. Looks like he's about to go out of the pit lane. I think the other Aston Martin might be looking up as well. That might be T-Hawk coming out of the pit lane soon. But Jensen is coming out the pit lane first. So, defending champion, 24.9. He's a 10th and a half off Kazizzle. Jensen has got some work to do if he's got to try and beat Kazizzle here.
And I don't know if it's T-Hawk or Boltzmann, but one of the Aston Martin's taken quite a while to get into their garage here, and I'm hoping that doesn't stop them from getting another lap in. Some drivers are throwing their out laps right now, but I think a lot of drivers need to watch turns 7 and 8 because that's where a lot of them seem to be losing the rear of their car.
Yeah, that outside curve coming out the exit of turn 7, trust me, I've been on time trial on this game and it does catch you out. And Jensen, run on board with Jensen, he's coming up towards this section out on track. It's not so much the left-hand side, but it's actually the exit of the curb. It's this left-hander on the exit of the curb. That's where the guys tend to lose it, and that's where the DNFs tend to happen. Coming out of there, we saw it with Tees and we saw it with Macho earlier on. Because there's all the way out on top. Surface second, Jensen third, as I say. Top 8 separated by 0.3 of a second just over. Macho and T-Hawk are not entirely out of this either. Rocco, Denzo, they can easily improve on their lap times. With what apparently says it's 1 minute 40. I think it might be actually over 2 minutes left to go in the session. It does seem to me...
Oh, you can continue.
Yeah, I think that was Baraka possibly in the middle and just entering the middle sector. He's just backing off on an outlap at this stage, and that's why the yellow flags. I think you might have been picking up on that. But Jensen, what can he do on this lap? A 24.9. Denzo will not improve. He retires in the pit lane, so Denzo not improving. Doesn't feel that he's got enough time, and Jensen then is the first one to start us off on a lap. And Kazizzle, 24.757 is the lap time to beat. What can Jensen do on this lap? He needs to find a really special lap here. Down in towards turn 1, and then through turns 2 and 3 on the exit of turn 3. Catches the curb slightly, and he catches the curb too much. He's invalid.
A lot of drivers are on their outlap, and some of them only just come out of the pit lane. And I don't think all of them are going to have enough time to do their lap. So that could be something to watch out for. But Lou begins their lap now. Hopefully they don't invalidate either.
Yeah, Lou, 24.9 from the Dutchman currently. He's behind Black Box by about 0.03 of a second, and Lou will be hoping to try and improve. Let's see what his first sector is like. He's clean out of turn 4, through turn 5, then towards 6 and 7. He's 700ths up. It's not a purple first sector, so clearly he is not improving ahead of anyone else on the grid. But Lou, good in the first sectors. He now comes out through turn 8. Again, just catching that rear end. That rear end really looks unstable on these cars on this game, and Lou has got to try and manage that as he comes now down in towards turn 10. Now, opening up that DRS zone once again. He deploys that DRS. You can see the ERS just moving down to the left-hand side of your screen. Baraka has crashed, coming through turn 4.
And we have a yellow. And Nathan, sorry there, but Nathan has spun it in turn 7 or 8 again, I believe. And that's the third or fourth driver that spun there.
And I'll tell you what, yeah.
misses out. And Macho misses out on his flying lap. He didn't get to the finish line in time to start a new lap.
I think he did. Has he?
Yeah, he did make it. I don't know. I don't think he did make it, did he?
We'll see. I think he's just crossed the line. He has made it. I think we've got a glitch. Lou to the line, though. Goes top. 24.6 from Lou. And really responded. That was a great middle sector. I was right on board with that lap. Lou goes top. What can Kazizzle do? What can Surface do? And Surface actually is a 10th up already through the first sector. So Surface is going to try and make sure that Lou, his own teammate, is not on pole position. Surface, of course, formerly of Leonis Racing, now through the end of the middle sector. Oh my god, it's quick, and it's 3-4 tenths up nearly. Just catches the curb, just degrades that speed away, but Surface is on a very good lap here. There's Nathan off to the the right-hand side. He's not going to get a lap in. Surface, though, in towards the final 2 corners. I think this is a 24.4 maybe from Surface as he runs through the final corner, runs towards the line. Out to 24.4, Surface out on top, and he dominates. But what can the rest do? Rocco goes 4th, Kazizzle only up by 400ths.
And T-Hawk actually spun on their lap as well in the same area as some of the other drivers are in turn 7 and 8 once again.
He did, which is a shame, and he's not going to be improving ahead of 13th, but still with a 25.8 to respectful lap. Kazizzle was nearly 2 tenths up coming out the middle sector, out of the final corner. Is he going to try and steal Surface to the line? No, it's a 24.6. He does go 2 thousandths quicker, however, than Lou. T-Hawk, I don't believe, is on a lap. Lou is certainly not on a lap. That's the end of qualifying. Surface out on top. Kazizzle second, Lou in third. Welcome back, Surface. 2 tenths ahead of his nearest rival.
Yeah, that's a very impressive lap from Surface there at the last few minutes. And it nearly a 1-2 for Red Bull, but Kazizzle managed to put in a very good lap to split them in half there now. And this race to be very interesting, seeing how close these drivers are on their lap times.
Ivo F1, by the way, in the comment section has said, Lou has set the same time as me in time trial. Let's go going from Lou at 24.648, and if it's the same time as Ivo, goodness knows what Ivo could probably do within this lobby. Surface, though, his AI just coming across the line. I'm waiting on Lou and Macho just to retire from the session. But Surface has put it now, the pedal to the metal, and he'll be hoping to try and outgun Kazizzle. These two go quite a way back from Season 8, and thought we had a timing glitch there, goodness me. But it is Surface out on top. We'll run you through the grid order very soon indeed. I'll have a look as well at your comment section very soon indeed. Good to see a few new subscribers as well on the channel. It is Surface, the Greek, out on top. He points the finger to number 1. That's where he is. So Surface is out on top. Kazizzle in second. Lou in third. Look at that, 0.02 of a second separating. And then you get Rocco all the way down to Black Box. Rocco 4th. Jensen 5th. Lars Kramer 6th. Baraka 7th. And Black Box in 8th. 0.06 of a second, just under, separating 4th down to 8th. Really, really close indeed. Nathan in 9th and Burrell rounding off the top 10, 0.6 of a second, covering the top 10 with Denzel in 11th, Macho in 12th. A little bit disappointing, I think, from our perspective. T-Hawk in 13th, T's in 14th. Boastman looking to try and do mediums maybe to the hard strategy, which might be the strategy to go on around here in Bahrain. He's down there in 15th position. But Surface out on top. Kazil's second, Lou in third. Qualifying over, this sets us up for a very, very tasty race.
Macho and T-Hawk, the two drivers that were very quick in F2 last season, only P12 and P13, and they were looking to be a lot more quicker, I reckon, especially Macho. And I'm kind of shocked that they're over a second off the race, the fastest lap here. So they're going to have to make their way up the field a lot here in this race.
Yona, by the way, 24.6 was the lap time in F2 for pole position. Xavier was second with 24.7. Chris Alien third with a 24.8. So that's your top 3 from F2. Bunty, by the way, has put a very, very bad comment in the F2 stream, which I'm going to say live on the F1 stream. Great commentary, better than F1.
That's not very
I think
nice
we quit. I think we quit. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Bunty, you should know better. That's all I'm going to say. 15 seconds, though, until the start of the formation lap. And the formation lap, of course, gets these guys ready, gets the setups in, gets the setups locked in, and gets all the drivers onto a set of softs, mediums or hards. We'll have to see, of course, what tyre everyone is on. T-Hawk, by the way, saying, at least I know I'll gain a place at the start because matchable bottle it as always. Fighting talk from the former rivals.
Yeah, I reckon these drivers will be very close in the race, and I'm hoping that none of them collide on the formation lap or the opening lap, because that did seem to happen in pretty much every single race so far this week, and hopefully that doesn't happen too much here today, so hopefully they can all keep it clean and have a very good driver.
I know these guys too well, I think, and honestly, if there's any incident, it's probably unintentional from these guys. They get aggressive, but it's due purely because they love what they're doing. And I hope that we're going to see some really tasty battles and some really good overtakes out on track. Let's have a look, though, at the strategies that everyone is on. To the left-hand side of your screen, top 10, of course, qualifying on a set of soft compounded tyre. They qualified on that set, so they're going to be more worn than the guys further down the field, underneath the bottom 10, from 11th down to 15th. Denzo and Boastman are going hard strategy, possibly to a set of softs towards the end of the race. Macho, T-Hawk and Ties looking like they're going to go mediums to hards on their strategy. Tie wear around here, as I say, around 5-6% per lap. So, by all intents and purposes, these guys on a set of softs are only going to last, what, 7-8 laps before they come into the pits?
Yeah, they're going to last around 7 to 8 laps, and I'm kind of shocked that I'm kind of shocked that Denzo and Boastman actually got onto the hards, and I'm not surprised that Macho, T-Hawk and Ties went onto the mediums, because they could either do a medium to hards or a 2-stop and put on 2 very good sets of softs there to hopefully get them very quick and up that grid.
Yeah, it is going to be really interesting. I've just seen a tweet, by the way. I've just been tagged. Yeah, League of Europe have just announced me as another commentator for F1. So that's very nice. 5th season I'm doing there, and I'll have a look at that later on. But, Charlie, I'm going to come across to you. I've realised that we didn't do the qualifying predictions. Who's your race predictions, though? Who's your top 3?
I'm going to say my top 3 is Surface, Kazil, and Jensen.
Interesting. I have to not beat around the bush and say Surface is going to win this. I think he's been so impressive in qualifying. Second, I'm going to go Rocco. He's normally quite good around here in Bahrain. Watch out for him from 4th on the grid. Jensen, I think, will finish in 3rd. Watch out for Boltzmann, though. Down in 15th position. Watch out for him. The 5 red lights are now coming on here in Bahrain. I can see there's no revving on, but now we're about to get underway. 5 red lights are about to go out here in Bahrain for the first pre-season race of FRL F1. And it is, lights down the way we go. Great start by Surface, because there's a left on the grid, and Surface has already got 2 tenths away, down in towards turn number 1. Already Barella's being caught up a little bit in an instant, down in towards turn 1, caught up with Surface, trying to go around the outside, and that's Kazizel. Very late on the brakes down the inside line, now through turns 2 and 3. T-Hawk Macho dropping down the field, they're having a fight further down, because Zizzle leads the way. There's a spinner in the background, it's Tease, that's round, he's recovered the car.
Ties.
And yeah, Tease down.
He saved it though.
He has, I think
that was from him.
I think he hit the rear wall, if I'm not mistaken. Surface, however, and Kazizel are going side by side through 6 and 7, and Kazizel is ahead. Great fighting between them both, and Kazizel is ahead of Surface. Now running through turn number 8 for the first time. Kazizel leads Surface in 2nd. What an insane battle that was for the lead of the race. Black Box and Jensen, the 2 IFR boys, are side by side. Running down, it's 3 wide in the background. Burrell, Nathan, Jensen, I think that is all involved in that. And now Nathan is side by side with Jensen, and these two are getting their elbows out. Burrell to the outside line, looking to try and get the move done, but Nathan is on the inside line. Jensen still side by side with him. Who's going to be ahead, Relentless or IFR? It is the Relentless man in front. FBR, Burrell around the outside of Jensen, and Jensen is getting found out. It's Kazizel out on top, Surface 2nd, Rocco up into 3rd. Really good start. Obviously Tease, I think, hit the rear wall right at the back of the field through turn 3, but Kazizel leads, Surface 2nd, Rocco 3rd at the end of lap 1.
And Jensen's really struggling there because he even gone wide in the last corner and he's now lost out to Barpa. Ties does have damage, she's definitely going to have to make a pistol bear, and Macho's pin as well, it seems. Yeah, Macho might have been caught up in an instant, maybe with T-Hawk further down the field. Lou, by the way, is running out wide through turn 1. I think Rocco dive-bombed him maybe there, or Lou went wide, one of the two. And now Black Box is side by side with him. Black Box, of course, won the American race last season in FRL, and he tries to go all the way around the outside, and he does. The Alpine ahead of the Red Bull. So, Black Box into 5th, Lou into 6th, because Zizzle leads the way, Surface 2nd, Rocco in 3rd. Macho going onto a set of hards, T's going onto a set of mediums coming out the pit lane, so obviously one is going to be quicker than the other. It looks like Macho just came in maybe for fresh tyres. T's obviously came in for a front wing change because it's 5 seconds the gap. Oh my goodness, and Macho nearly spins out of the pits even.
Yeah, these tyres are very cold.
I reckon he did have damage though, because I was looking at his pit stop and he did change front wings, it seems.
Yeah, so I think he was obviously being caught up in some sort of incident on lap 1, I would imagine. And that is why Macho was probably going to be hunted down by Tease, probably in the next 3 laps. If he gets within DRS range, he's going to be there or thereabouts. Kazizel, though, dominating out in front at the minute, but he's only got a 5/10 advantage over Surface. The DRS, of course, is going to be enabled next time. Tease has spun coming through turn 8.
Again. And Ty seems to have spun again. He's picked up a 3-second penalty for the track limits.
He has. I think he ran wide. I think he's got caught on the curb on the exit, and that's why the penalty has been. That's why the game, I should say, has punished him in terms of the 3-second time penalty. Lars Kramer with the fastest lap of the race. However, Lou on the back of Black Box down in towards someone, and Baraka tries to go all the way around the outside on Burrell. He was very close to the back there. The Alfa Romeo on the back of the McLaren. Nathan, however, is right on the back of Lou, and is he going to try and go down the inside in towards turn number 4? He does think about it, goes down the inside line. It was a half-committed move, but I tell you what, Nathan's alongside here. Lou teases retired out on track coming through turn 13, and that's on the exit of turn 13. Might deploy a safety car. Nathan on the inside line of Lou, getting very close to contact. Lou, 3-second time penalty, that needs to be removed. Nathan, though, cannot find a way through, and it's still Lou in 6th. But I tell you what, Jensen is fighting with Burrell further down the field.
Barca gets past Borel, but at the same time, Borel going down the inside, but once he got ahead, Borel actually hit Barca's rear wing, so I hope that doesn't make Borel have front wing damage, but it doesn't look like he has any.
No, I think if he's gone straight into the rear end of the car, I think, to be honest, it will not give him any front wing damage. However, actually coming out of turn number 12 there, left side end plate damage, I think it might be on that car. It might be very light and unnoticeable from a camera's perspective. Jensen goes past him. I think he's got left side end plate damage possibly on that car. I'm just trying to see. I can't see if there's a winglet missing. I think it might be the right side end plate, actually, where there is something. Burrell's going to continue on. However, continuing on a Surface down the inside on a Kazizel. This is for the lead of the race. Down onto lap 4 we go. And Surface, can he get the car stopped? Yes, he can. Red Bull ahead of the Williams, and he takes the lead.
Surface takes back the lead after start on pole, but even if Burrell does have the side pod damage, he can't do anything about it. Kazizel going down the inside of Surface there. And Surface nearly. That was a close call.
Yeah, because Kazizel just overcorrected that, I think. He was almost going to lose the rear end on the exit of turn 4, and Rocco nearly got past him. These two have had a good battle in the past, Kazizel and Rocco, and trust me, these guys know how to battle. Surface still leading the way, Kazizel in second, Rocco in third. Lars Kramer is into 4th position, and let's have a look at actually the position gains and position losses from the start. Most gained as Boastman, up to 11th position, 4 positions gained from 15th. Most positions lost, Jensen from 5th on the grid. The defending champion in F1 has got a lot of work to do, and I'm afraid to say, even at this early stage, and even in pre-season, I think he's actually met his match here as Baraka goes slow, and actually, Jensen is through, and Baraka's got a problem, I think. Baraka is slowing. Has he disconnected? I think he might have.
Oh no, he's got front wing damage. Wait, no he doesn't. Never mind.
He's going very slow.
It doesn't say that he's left the game.
He's running very wide. I have a feeling it might be a wheel problem that he might have. Just looking at the steering inputs, it might be the wheel, might be the throttle and the braking inputs that might have. Down in towards turn 1 though with the leaders. Surface leads the way, Kazizel second, Rocco in third. Nobody getting the move done there. But Baraka losing positions. It's either that or his softs are just well and truly gone off the cliff.
If he locked up a lot, then yes, his tires will be very up the temperature, maybe too high for the temperatures, but if that hasn't happened, then I don't really know the issue and why he's going super slow, because you don't expect to see the soft tires wear out within 5 laps.
Lou nearly made Black Box make a mistake there, and actually Black Box got caught in the curb. He made a mistake himself. Lou nearly capitalised on that. He was nearly into 5th position, not quite. He is still in 6th, though. He deploys that DRS, of course, down the straight. The overtake mode flashing just off the left-hand side. One ball with Nathan. Front 7, however, are pulling away. Jensen is caught up in that wash with Burrell, and Boastman, actually, who's gone past on Baraka, obviously. So he's up into 10th and into the points. Surface still leading the way, Kazizel second, Rocco in third. Quite interesting race this is. Surface is now beginning maybe just show his metal, but he's always prone to the DRS and the ERS usage in behind, because Kazizel has got 30% more ERS than Surface at this stage.
Yeah, I reckon Kazizel, considering he's got the DRS, and if I'm correct, yeah, that's Kramer's pitting already. Maybe he's doing a bit of an early strategy here. And so does Baraka.
Mediums. It is medium compounded tyres going on 23 laps. Is going to be a real struggle to try and get those tyres towards the end. If it's anything like the last game, it should be the possibility that Lars Kramer is going to drop down the field. I think Black Box has had a moment. Black Box has gone in the gravel. Coming out of turn 3, Jensen nearly loses the rear end actually on his inside line when passing. So Jensen is through. Black Box though into the gravel coming out of 4. And I'm not sure if he might have been forced off there, and I'm not sure if he forced a mistake, and actually, he's going to be under pressure from Burrell. Burrell tries to go all the way around the outside. Now those tyres begin to pick up again, and Black Box is going to try and fight this all the way around the outside in towards 7, through turns 9 and 10. He dives down the inside line, and Boastman might be here to pick them both up. It's Kazizel goes for the lead. Oh, I thought he was going to go for the move. Sorry, Black Box at the back of Burrell.
Burrell goes wide, and that's Black Box ahead of him there.
And watch out for Boastman. Burrell just cuts across on Boastman. And Boastman, on a set of hards, he is not entirely out of picture here for the race win. He's down in 9th, and I might be saying that now, but he's in with a real good chance of actually winning this race. Down in 9th position. Watch out for him in the second half of this race. Surface nearly jukes him in. Kazizel's in. Kazizel into the pit lane from second. Early pit stop, and it's a 5-second penalty.
In the pit lane. That's definitely not what you want to see from one of the leaders.
It's a 5-second penalty, and it's not the first time, and it's certainly not the last time he'll do that, speeding into the pit lane, certainly. Kazizel, though, out of the pit lane. T-Hawk has just started down the inside of Denzo. He's fighting out very hard with Denzo actually coming out of 3 in towards 7-4. I think T-Hawk with the power in the medium tyres that Aston Martin has got is through. So T-Hawk is through. Denzo though tries to cut him back on the inside line through 4. Not quite close enough. T-Hawk through.
Surfer still leading this race with Rocco right behind him, and Zizzle did not need that speeding in the pit lane, because if he wants to win this race, he's got to have a very good strategy and speed here in order to create that gap. I don't think the drivers that have already gone onto the mediums are going to go to the end on those, because there's no chance that they can possibly go that far on those mediums. They're either going to go on another set of mediums, or they'll go into another set of softs. So it is looking to be a 2 strategy, I think, here for some of the drivers.
Yeah, 2 stop against 1 stop, and it's always that age-old question, I think, around Bahrain. What is the quickest strategy around here? As a former racer, I don't know myself. This is why I'm in the commentary box, and this is why Charlie's alongside me in the commentary box as well. Rocco! Oh my god!
Goodness.
Nearly went into the back of Surface, coming into the pit lane. Goodness me, that was close. Rocco, he has to count his very much lucky stars there. Black Box is going to try and go around the outside line, though, on Jensen.
Goodness, and his brakes.
Jensen
his
very
brakes
late.
were smoking a lot there in the pits.
Black Box on the back of Jensen, however, this is down in towards turn number 4. There's Lars Kramer, by the way, and Lars Kramer is going to be ahead of Nathan. Is he going to be ahead of Rocco with Surface? Yes! Lars Kramer's ahead, Kazizel's ahead. The undercut around Bahrain is absolutely potent. Kazizel and Lars Kramer are ahead, both on a set of mediums. They're against the guys on the set of hards in behind. Macho retires at the final corner, and I wonder if that's going to deploy a safety car to VSC.
Safety car. And I wonder what happened with Macho. I wonder if he lost in the corner or if he just decided to retire, because he had to have a huge gap to everyone else, and if he was going to have to pit again, I don't think he would have been catching up to those drivers anytime soon. But now that caused the virtual safety car to come out, and if that came out near the end of Sector 3, that would have been very handy there for Lou and all of the leaders ahead of Surface and Kazizel, because they would have been slowed down whilst they are in the pit lane going quicker here, I reckon.
Yeah, all of these guys are sticking to the delta time, obviously, within the VSC, but it makes me wonder if the VSC is obviously going to be, I think Black Box is getting back underway as I'm running on board with Jensen. These guys are about to get back underway, I think, but who's going to risk it? Is anybody going to risk it? This VSC is still staying out, and Lou's coming in. Lou is into the pit lane from the lead of the race. Black Box is in. Jensen is in. I think this is the wrong decision, because the VSC is going to end any second now. Boseman is going to lead the race on a set of hards, and the VSC is still out on track. And this is unbelievable, because it could bring Lou into play, and it could bring Black Box and the likes into play.
Black Box barely came out ahead of Jensen there, but Boseman from last place up in the first.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, how on earth have they managed that VSC? I always thought that VSC was going to be sooner rather than later, to be honest, and that was the longest VSC I think I've ever seen on any F1 game, and that means we're back underway, and that means Lou is in the net lead of this race, but he has got a penalty over Kazizel.
So does Kazizel though, and I reckon Lou would technically be in the lead because Kazizel has a 5-second penalty, and then Lou only 3 seconds. So Lou hasn't got too much to worry about. We've seen have a yellow sector 1. I think that's Baraka who spun it, and he has.
I think he's kept it at the wall though. He's kept the car going, the Spaniard. So Baraka now down in 13th position, and he'll be hoping to try and get back into this. Don't think he's got any succinct damage on that car, which is good for him. I think he's probably just caught the outside, and you can see him actually using up that ERS now. He wants to try and get on with this, but he looks a little bit tetchy. I think he's got a problem again. Baraka has got a problem. You can see his tyre. I think he might retire into the pit lane here.
I reckon his tyres just might be too up to temperature here. They could be quite high, and he might be trying to cool them down. But I'm not sure if he either got too much of the curb or made contact with T-Hawk, because they were quite close with each other in Sector 1 there.
Yeah, I think T-Hawk was behind him. Baraka was actually ahead, and he was fighting with like the likes of Burrell and Nathan. And Baraka, I think, might have got caught on the outside curb coming out of turn, I think it was turn 4.
Yeah, and Rocco trying to get ahead of Surface, and I'm not sure if it's just my Wi-Fi, but Surface only has one red bar for me.
He does
and
for me as well.
Retired. He's retired in the pit lane.
Oh, Rocco tries to go all the way around the outside of Surface. Surface might have a 1 bar, but he's going to be clean saved by Rocco. Rocco is through. And there he goes, intranet P5, I think that is, out on track. Rocco then is through on Surface, and Surface now getting caught in the wash behind Rocco. And now with Nathan then behind. Rocco and Nathan are really good friends, by the way. They're both in separate teams. I have a feeling they're going to work together at this point, because Nathan, on the back of Surface, needs to get this move done.
Considering that you said that these two are friends, do you think that they could be teammates then for this season?
They could be. They could be, and I wouldn't put it past us at all if Rocco and Nathan team up. Obviously, both teams that they're part of, XL and Relentless, are very, very fierce rivals in League of Europe, which I commentate on, obviously, on a Saturday. And Nathan and Rocco are very good friends, and they often work together. Whether or not they're going to work together, whether or not Nathan's got the pace actually to get the move done on Surface remains to be seen. But we go on to lap 11. Boltzmann leads the way, Denzo in second, Lou in third. The top two haven't pitted just yet. Here comes, though, Nathan on the back of Rocco. Rocco on the back of... Surface on the back of Rocco. And now Nathan dives it down the inside line. Rocco was so early on the brakes there, and Nathan's going to try and set it all around the outside of turns 2 and turn 3. And watch out for Burrell in behind as well. Burrell is watching this and thinking to himself, you know what, Surface and Nathan, you're having a battle. I may as well try and pick up 2 positions for the price of 1. Nathan nearly forces Surface off track, and now Burrell... It's not going to be 3 wide into here, is it? It's going to be 2 wide. And how on earth they haven't made contact is beyond me. Nathan's through, Surface down in position, Burrell stays in position. Nathan, brilliant fighting between them both.
And on the other hand, Kazizel gets ahead of FVR Lars Kramer here, and he's now up in the P4, technically in second place. But yeah, from my point of view, it looks like Rocco braked very early to help Surface try and get ahead of Nathan, or Nathan ahead of Surface, whichever one it was. Because it seemed like he braked very early, and I think one of the drivers did hit the back of him.
I think it was Surface actually into the back of Rocco, and that's how early he broke. Surface nearly went into the back of Rocco, and then down in towards turn 1, obviously there's a pinch point on the outside, he got boxed in, and that's what happened. Nathan threw on Surface, and Surface has just gone. Either his tyres or his setup's not right, something isn't right. He was on pole position, and he's down in 10th position, and that just comes to show the nature of the race. Here comes Lars Kramer though, fighting back on the back of Kazizel. Down the inside he goes, so late on the brakes. Is there contact on the exit? No, there's not. Lars Kramer through. Lars Kramer through, and he's into 4th, but watch out for Black Box. Black Box in the Alpine now, on the back of the Williams ahead of Kazizel, but I don't think he's going to get the move down up the hill and towards 4. Boltzmann leads the way, Denzel in second, Lou in third. Gotta say, this is a really, really good race.
Yeah, and they've also managed to keep it a lot more clean than I thought that they would. But Denzo also picked up another penalty, and Lou is closing that gap to Denzo, which might hold him up or hopefully get past him very quickly here.
I'm just tuning into the F2 race, by the way. They're only on to lap 13, so we're literally a lap behind them. Zabel leads the way, Parrott in second, Jake in third.
They did start a bit more early than us.
They did. The 60 DNFs, though. We've only got 3. Who's the better tier? You decide. Because this is on the back of Lars Kramer, though. Oh, and Lars Kramer!
Ooh!
How has he recovered that?
Close call. Oh my!
How's he recovered that? Kazizel's through. Well, we should mention Kazizel's through and he's into 4th, but Lars Kramer on the outside curb.
He's got to watch his tyres here now, I think, because they're definitely going to give him less grip. But my goodness, what a save that was, and he's going to get back ahead of Zizoware.
He is, down the inside line he goes, Lars Kramer is through, so Lars Kramer's through and he's into 4th position. I have a feeling something might have came out of his mouth, I think, with that save, but Lars Kramer's through and he's into 4th, because Zizzle through and he's into 5th. Rocco and Nathan, the two friends, Nathan's just overtaken Rocco, so Nathan looks like he's got the pace over Rocco now. Is Rocco going to try and fight back? No, Nathan in 8th, Rocco in 9th, but watch out because they're going to catch the back of Jensen, and if Jensen has got the pace, and it looks like he has, he's in a bit of clear air now. Nathan spun.
Nathan spins.
And that is typical Nathan.
That is not what we want to see there.
Nathan has... it's not surprising to me, to be honest, that he has spun, but he obviously got caught on the curb coming through turn 5 to turn 6, and that's where he spun it, and now Nathan, from possibly fighting out for a good podium position, is now down in 12th position, has now got to hope that a safety car is deployed.
Yeah, he's definitely... A lot of drivers are here.
Raza spun out of turn 12,
no.
just caught the end of that.
He's managed to keep it, but I don't know if he's got damage, but it doesn't look like he has got any.
He hasn't. He spun on that outside curb again through turn 12. I only caught the end of it. And Lars Kramer's tyres, there must be over 100 degrees. Certainly, there must be over 100 degrees. Because he is struggling on those tyres. And if I was Lars Kramer, I'd be trying to come into the pit lane, possibly. Here is Burrell, however, his other teammate in the McLaren, down the inside on Rocco. Down the inside he goes. That's late on the brakes. And Burrell, is he going to leave Rocco short of room on the inside? Rocco just forces his way through, down the inside line. And I tell you what, it's side by side between them both. Lars Kramer's ahead of Jensen. In towards turn number 4, around the outside he went. And Burrell is through on Rocco. So McLaren's making big stonks up the field. Lars Kramer's into 6th, Burrell is into 8th. And yes, I have just said stonks on the stream.
Nathan does pit for the mediums, and I wonder if he's going to go to the end on those tyres here now.
He will. 15 laps, they're possible. 15 laps, easily possible on a set of mediums. It'll be Kazizel and Lars Kramer. You'll be hoping that those tyres do go to the end of the race. Otherwise, they're in real trouble.
Yeah, Borrell, though, he's doing quite good after starting a little bit behind. He's in the points still, and Boastman's still yet to pit. Of course, on the hards, but he is going to have to pit at some point, of course, because he is losing time to Lou, because Lou's literally lowered that gap to 2.1 seconds to Denzo now.
Yep, Lou's tyres are really beginning to come into play, and you can see the mediums are quicker than the hards, and that is why Lou is probably quicker than Denzo at this stage. Denzo is no slouch. Denzo is no slouch whatsoever. He's lost 2-3 seconds to the back of Boastman since I last looked. It was about 4 seconds. It's now 6.6. So Denzel's losing time, but Lou's catching him. And Lou is probably going to get him within the next 3 laps, I would think. Black Box as well. He's catching on to the back of Kazizel. Lars Kramer's dragging Jensen along as well, so I guess that sort of battle's going as well. And then you've got Rocco and Burrell further down the field. So you've got 3 different battles, as Rocco nearly loses the exit of turn 4 on the exit there. But Rocco is right under pressure from Surface as well. Surface is right on the back of Rocco. Is he going to try and look for the move? No.
I think Denzo might be having... I think Denzo's having connection issues, so I see only 1 bar on his user here.
Yeah, and look at the time. Lou has gained 7/10 of a second in the first sector alone. Coming into the end of the middle sectors, Burrell picks up a 3-second penalty, and that is on the exit of turn 10 where he's picked that up. Lou is now within DRS range on the back of Denzel. Denzel's got a 1 bar. Don't really be concerned. He's not jumping, like lagging or anything like that. It's just a 1 bar, I think, so don't be concerned as too much over that. But you can't take it away from Lou. Look at the pace Lou has got. He's pulled away from Kazizel. Now on the back of Denzel's. Burrell's out through turn 13.
Borrell's... I think... Oh,
safety car!
It. Safety car is out, and Boastman... Oh, and a lot of drivers are paying there now. Kazizel and Black... Oh, no. Wait, oh, no, they're not, but that's fine. But a lot of drivers... This changes the strategies now, but Boastman... If he's ahead of the safety car, so this could be good for him. I reckon he should go into a set of mediums and go to the end here.
But you've got to factor in, if the delta time is not on Black Box, Lars Kramer and Jensen, they'll catch up to the back of Lou before the end of the lap. But however, I think because under the safety car, they have to stick to that delta time. Boastman has certainly got a free pit stop over Black Box. That's what we can say now. Denzo and Lou especially, what does he do? What does he do? Does he come into the pit lane and follow Denzo in, and probably follow Boastman in as well? Or does he stay out, risk a puncture, and try and lead to the end of the race?
If I was Lou, I'd be pitting now, because he's only done 1 stop and he started on those soft tires and he's now on the mediums, and I'd say that he might want to stop now.
I think he does. I agree. I think Lou, if I was in Lou's position, I'd be pitting now. I'd be coming into the pit lane this lap 16 out of 29. Lou should be coming into the pit lane this lap. Denzo, will probably have to come into the pit lane, and so will Boltzmann. But Boltzmann, Denso, maybe even Lou, have actually got a free pit stop. Here's Boltzmann into the pit lane. So Boltzmann is in, and he gets the car stopped, luckily. Denso and Lou coming out the final corner, and they're both going to come in. So Lou and Denso both in as well. Where are they going to come out? Boltzmann is going to be miles. These are going to be first, second, and third coming out the pits.
Boltzmann goes onto the soft tire, and Lou goes onto another set of mediums. And Denso on a set of... I can't quite tell what that set is. He's on the set of mediums.
Yeah, I apologise, by the way, to anybody that might be viewing Boltzmann's camera position at this point. He's now finally came out of the pit lane, but there was about 20 seconds of the camera just being non-existent, to be honest. But, as I predicted rightly, Boltzmann, Denso and Lou have came out in the front three positions. Boltzmann on a set of softs, the other two on a set of mediums. I think Boltzmann has got this race.
I reckon he might have it, but he's definitely got to watch those tyres for the last couple of laps, because usually you're only meant to make softs last for about 7 to 8 laps. He's got another 13 laps or 12 laps to go here. So he's got to try and take care of his tyres under the safety car and use them a lot at the start of the restart here and try and pull away from everyone behind.
Well, you've got to factor in Nathan's coming across the start-finish line. He's on that side of the track. T-Hawk hasn't caught up to the back of the pit lane, the safety car yet. So Boltzmann is going to be, at least I think, for another lap under the safety car. And that is going to suit his tyres really, really well indeed, because they're not going to be losing 5-6% a lap. They're only going to be losing maybe 3-4%, I would say, at a push. So Boltzmann has got to be wary of that, and Boltzmann has got to be under pressure from Denso and Lou, obviously, off the start. But I know Boltzmann, and I know him well. If there's anybody that can get these tyres to the end of the race, and even though Bunty has said the soft spawn last, I think they will. Boltzmann is the king of tyre management. Back in the day in FRL, he should be the man to beat.
I reckon Boltzmann can be the man to beat, and he might do a Sergio Perez 2020 Sakir here, last to first.
I think he will. Oh yeah, he started 15th, didn't he? I've just realised that. Boltzmann starting 15th is into the lead of the race. I did say watch out for him. I didn't think he'd be in first.
Yeah, you did. And I reckon he's got unlucky here because the safety car's still not coming in.
Yeah, it's out for another lap at least. Nathan's, what, 28 seconds off the back, so the safety car has to stay out. Otherwise, Nathan will just retire into the pit lane.
Nathan's already pitted, so I reckon he's going to be staying out here.
Yeah, Nathan should be joining the back of the safety car queue, probably in towards turn 4, I think. He'll probably join into the back. In fact, there he is, just in the background of shot. He just exited the final corner there. So Nathan will be on the back of these guys, I think, coming in towards turn 4, turn 5. That complex coming through there. Unseen, by the way, Sane, and it's good to see Unseen there as well. Softs last about 7 laps, like you said, but after that, they are done with qualifying, and he's going to be plodding around behind the safety car for a couple of laps. Great point to make, I think, and it just puts it into perspective. Boltzmann has got to be wary about that tyre management. Tyre management is critical around here in Bahrain, and Boltzmann, I believe he's going to get to the end of the race. I believe if he takes it, if he goes, 3 laps into when the safety car comes in, he should be about 5 seconds clear, and then he can manage his tyres from that point. If not, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, the bad news is for Boltzmann though, is if he's going to keep these tyres up to temperature under the safety car, it's going to of course wear out his tyres. So if he doesn't keep them up to temperature, he's going to struggle in the first opening laps there, but if he keeps them up to temperature, he's going to lose quite a bit of wear during the safety car already.
I think Lars Kramer nearly had a half spin there in the background. I just saw a McLaren like drifting coming on the exit of turn 10. I think that was Lars Kramer just drifting on the exit of turn 10. And nearly losing the car, nearly lost the position to Jensen there as well. We are about to get back underway though. The safety car is coming in. And the final point I'll make about the tyre management. Unseen, I remember a race that I commentated on him in the past. In Singapore, in FRL, I think he managed a set of hards 29 laps. And he did a one-stop strategy around Singapore. So that's all I'm saying. So if it comes from Unseen himself, he knows.
Yeah, Boltzmann's going to have to get a very good getaway here now, I reckon. Of course, they're all going to be up. They're all going to have ERS here, so they can either use it or leave it, because I reckon a lot of the drivers will be using their ERS down the straight here. And they're all super close to each other, and they've got to be very careful what they're doing, because they could collide with one of each other.
Yeah, of course, it's up to Boastman. He goes. Boastman goes, and look at that. He just rolls away. 0.6 of a second coming across the line. But watch out him behind, because Lars Kramer, Kazizel, is nearly going side by side with Jensen. It's nearly bump drafting, running down the straight. It's now Black Box. Looks under the inside line of Lars Kramer. Lars tries to go all the way around the outside. Kazizel and Jensen having a battle. Nearly contact in the background. T-Hawk has been spun, coming through turn 1. I think he got caught up in a collision with Nathan. Lars Kramer and Black Box, though, side by side. Rocco and Jensen side by side in towards turn number 4, but Black Box still holds on to P4, and Lars Kramer nearly loses that car again. A really good save once again, but Black Box through, and he's into 4th, and now Lars Kramer's got to try and do it the hard way. Boastman already, though, 1.2 seconds up the road.
Yeah, I reckon he's going to be pushing on these opening laps here to try and create that gap. Then he's going to be watching for his tyres here to make sure that he gets them to the end here.
He will. Boastman is a second clear, but what he's going to be wary of is Denzo is going to have that clear air. The dirty air, obviously, is going to be the backwash in behind with Lou and Black Box, and they're going to struggle to catch onto the back. Boastman, if he's got those tyres up at working temperature, probably from next lap onwards, is when he is going to begin to pull away. I mean, look at that. He's just gained 0.2 of a second coming out of turn 13. So Boastman is on fire, and now he's beginning to pull away. It's like the hare versus the tortoise, but in a different fashion. It's Boastman who leads with 10 more laps to go here in Bahrain in the FRL F1 pre-season race. Boastman leads the way, sets the new fastest lap to boot as well. Denzo in 2nd, Lou in 3rd, Black Box in 4th, Lars Kramer in 5th, Kazizel in 6th, Jensen 7th, Rocco in 8th, Service 9, Nathan 10th, and T-Hawk after that spin in turn 1, running down in 11th position on a set of hards, and probably going to be maybe running by himself for the rest of the race.
If you think about it, T-Hawk only started 13th, and if you do think about it, he has gained a few positions, even though he is in last place.
Yeah, he's gained 2 positions, I think, obviously off the start, so T-Hawk, he'll be hoping for a VSC, maybe a safety car or a push, if he wants to try and latch onto the back of Nathan, but these guys will battle ahead of him, and that's what he's going to be wary of, and those hards will eventually be quicker than that set of mediums towards the end of the race. Looking further down the field, though, Rocco on the back of Jensen. These guys have been battling quite hard.
Black Box went wide there, but it doesn't really help Kramer there to get the position on him, and I wonder how many warnings Black Box actually has for the track limits there, and I'll quickly check.
Yeah, Black Box, well, you check that. Black Box, yeah, he's in 4th position. Lars Kramer in 5th. And Lars is struggling with that back end. He's still just catching that back end, starting on the exit of the corners. And he's got to be wary of that. If he wants to try and get those tyres to the end, those rears will begin to overheat. And that's why he will end up spinning that car. But Black Box, in terms of his warning, how many does he have?
He only has 1 warning of track limits, because it actually seems like he didn't get a warning for that track limits.
Yeah, track limits can be a bit, let's just say, higgledy-piggledy. I think, if even that's a word. They can be a bit 50-50, is what I'll say, in terms of the track limits on the game, and certainly in the last F1 game, it was certainly the case. Here's Rocco, however, on the back of Jensen. 7th and 8th position, the Ferrari on the Mercedes, looks to the inside line. I don't think, however, he's going to try and get this spoof done in towards turns 5, 6, and 7, and Rocco stays in position. But Jensen got caught on the outside curb there. There was a big snap of oversteer, and now Rocco really feeling that Jensen's under a bit of pressure, and I think Jensen's struggling here.
Rocco he's right behind him, and if he was going to make the move there, then that would have been very risky, and they made contact. Oh, and they've gave the position to Surface there, and I don't think Jensen's going to be very happy with that. Rocco did not brake enough there, I think. He just did not, he misjudged it, I reckon.
Nathan with a bit of a... Oh,
I think
Nathan!
Jensen might have damaged.
Oh, and Rocco's off!
Oh, Rocco's off!
Rocco into the wall!
And he's out! Oh, he's not out, he's still in somehow.
He's still in, he recovers the car, he just lost it on the exit of turn 11 and 12.
And somehow he doesn't pick up wing damage.
I think he's glanced that with his rear end. I think he might have glanced the wall with the rear end. Here's Lou, by the way, on the back of Denzel. This is for 2nd position. There's a lot of lag going on with Lou, but he's through. That made sense. He was through into the second position. Denzel in third. Nathan, however, on the back of Surface, and nearly like two good old rivals back in the day in FRL. That was Jai Fletcher and Montana, of course. Nearly having that sort of battle. As now Nathan on the back of Surface. Is he going to try and look to the outside line? He will. The Williams on the Red Bull. And what a move that is if he gets that move done. Round the outside he goes. And that is one of the best moves, possibly if he pulls it off, that I think you'll ever see around Bahrain. Nathan, that was brilliant. He's through and he's into 7th. And Surface is not giving up. Goodness me, what a fight.
Came out on top of that.
Jensen on the back of Surface. I can only say, Nathan, what a move that was. That was insane. Brilliant battling between them both. Brilliant respect, and that's what racing should be like.
Yeah, I reckon that's overtake of the day there.
Overtake of the day, might be overtake of the season. Who knows what's going to be coming ahead?
Yeah, that could be overtake of the season, maybe.
But
I wonder if Jensen has wing damage though. Oh, and
Nathan pulling out
Nathan
the slipstream.
Very far on down there, it seems, because I don't think he wants to send out the slipstream.
Yeah, Nathan pulling out the slipstream there, and I think that is why he's trying to break the toe. You can see him breaking the toe. Denzel, yeah, on the back of Lou, gets past him, and Lars Kramer's in behind him. Black Box as well. He's down the inside line in towards turn number 1, and it's 3 wide in the background. Actually, Surface, Nathan, and Jensen. Jensen tried to look for a double move, but Nathan and Surface, these two all warriors still fighting very hard indeed in Bahrain, and Nathan and Surface are still side by side. They're literally wits apart as we run down in towards turn number 4, and Nathan somehow holds on.
And if we look at the penalties there, if Lou does not extend his gap, then he's not going to be on
Denzel's
the podium.
in the wall! Denzel into the wall, sorry to cut in, but his rear end completely went up on the wall there. How on earth he crashed that?
Oh, he's got 10 seconds, yeah.
I thought he was crashing that into the wall. It's a 10-second penalty from Denzel.
16. That's 16 seconds worth of penalties there. And I don't think he's got any chance of those points there now.
He hasn't. I mean, he's pinned P9. 10-second penalties obviously going to stick him down in 10th. Rocco's down in 11th. Denzel may as well keep on going. He may as well keep on going and pick up a point. Yeah, it's a point, but it's a good way. And it's a good way, of course, if you finish the race, for the admins in FRL to judge how good they are in terms of racecraft, in terms of pace in the race, and in terms of pace in qualifying.
He's picked up another penalty. That's now 19 seconds.
19 seconds, wow. He might be under pressure then from Rocco come the end of the race. It's Kazizzle on the back of Black Box. Black Box down the inside line of Lars Kramer, and Denzel picks up another penalty. He retires.
Yeah, I think he's retired, yeah.
Lars Kramer has fought back on Black Box.
If I was Kramer and Black Box, I wouldn't want to be fighting too much, because they're on the podium either way because of Lou's penalty.
Yeah, looking at the penalties, I haven't shown the penalties actually. 3 seconds each for Lou, Kazizzle, and Surface. So Lou will drop down to 5th. You're quite right. Lou will drop down to... No, actually, Lou will drop down to 4th with Kazizzle obviously having his penalty. And Surface will drop down behind Jensen because of his penalty. So Surface will be 8th, and Lou will be 4th. And Kazizzle will be 6th, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Kazizzle on the back of Black Box, and Black Box will be hoping to try and get onto the back of Lou once again. And Lou and Lars Kramer having a good fight for 2nd and 3rd. Boltzmann, though, who leads the way. We have got 5 more laps to go after this lap is completed. It's Boltzmann leading the way, Lou in 2nd, Lars Kramer in 3rd. Boltzmann is really hanging on to those tyres nicely. He's 4.5 seconds clear. He need not worry about the guys behind.
Yeah, if I was Boltzmann now, I'd definitely be just taking care of those tyres. He's got a big enough gap considering that Lou has the penalty. And I think Lars Kramer just needs to try and stay within Lou's DRS here to stick with him. And same with a Black Box, and Black Box right behind Kramer here.
Oh! Surface is trying to go all the way around the outside of Nathan and behind as well. Ooh. Just sorry to cut you off there, but Surface on the back of Nathan, and Nathan's going to be under pressure on the up the hill and towards turn 4. Black Box not through on Lars. Is Surface going to get through on Nathan? No, stays in position.
Yeah, if Surfin does get ahead of Nathan, he's still going to be P7. He's going to drop down to P8 even because of this penalty as well. He's got a big enough gap to Teal, and he'll be P8 for him, I reckon. And Jensen Oh, Jensen nearly lost his car there. He managed to save it, but my goodness. That corner there is just absolute killer today.
It is an absolute killer. We thought turn 12 was going to be quite bad, but it's not. Turn 7, turn 8, that section of the track seems to be the worst on this game. That is for sure. And if you come into Bahrain, like we are again in 2 weeks' time, these guys will get a good feeling of the track, but will the game improve in time, and will the tyre handling and everything be improved between now and then? It remains to be seen. Boltzmann not leading the way, Lou in second, Lars Kramer in third, Kazizel in fourth. We're going to have a right old battle for second for the final few laps of this race.
On Lou, oh, I thought he was going to go in the pit lane there for a second. But Kramer's got to not use his ERS now, I reckon, because he hasn't got a lot of it left. If he wants to get then he's going to...
Kazizel on the brakes, down the inside line, nearly gets the move done. Does he get the move done? He's on the outside line. And I was on board with that, and I was seeing that from a mile off. But look at Black Box, he's got the clear out, and Black Box is going to be ahead. It's Kazizel, tries to fight it down the inside line. Kazizel does not want to do this, but he pushes him off track, and Black Box, that's a 3-second penalty. That'll be removed, I think. And Kazizel, I think, forced him off, and he lets him back through. That's what we saw there, and actually Kazizel tries to go around the outside of turn 8. And Black Box hangs on.
That could be Black Box's podium over here now, and that does mean that Lou could keep his podium in the end here now.
Yeah, Lou, I think, for Black Box and Kazizel to have any sort of chance of getting on the podium, Lou's got to pick up another 3-second time penalty. And he's under pressure from Lars, so he could easily do that if he's under pressure from a driver in behind.
If he picks up another penalty, then that's his podium over. But Kramer doesn't seem to be looking after his ERS, or he's just completely using it.
He's got half the ERS as Lou has ahead of him. So Lou's on 12%, Lars Kramer on 6%, running down into the final corner of turn 14 and 15. And now, with that ERS, he's not going to catch up. Watch. He's not going to catch up because he's using up that ERS. It derates down the straight. And actually, prove the commentator wrong. Is he going to go for it? No.
Oh.
He backs off. Kazizel, however, threw on Black Box for fourth.
He definitely could have had him there because he stopped using... Because Lou did stop using his ERS at some point, but Kramer kept on using it, and he definitely could have had him there.
Boltzmann is managing his tyres unseen, says, and you're quite right, he is losing a little bit of time, actually. Ace Boltzmann, it's only 2-3 tenths of a second, but that P word could be coming out to play. It's an 8-letter word, beginning in P, ending in E, puncture. Boltzmann possibly could get a puncture, 3.8 seconds. Boltzmann's tyres, if they keep going off, he's going to be fine, I think, for the win. But they're going to be shot.
He's already lost 6 tenths on this lap here, so he's definitely struggling on those tyres, I think. But if Lou wants that, he's got to just fully push it. But he's also got his penalty again, and that's not going to help him with that race win. So I reckon Boltzmann's just got this in the bag.
Yeah, they've got to take a few risks, I think, in behind. There's a whole train of cars. Lou all the way down to Black Box. Then you've got Nathan all the way down to Jensen. They could easily latch back on if these guys fight ahead of him. But Boltzmann needs to wait. It's 3.5 seconds the gap. I don't think it's enough for Lou and Lars Kramer to get the win out on track. And Lou obviously with the penalty, because Kazizel Black Box with the penalties. They're not going to feature. It's Lars Kramer really against Boltzmann at this point. It's 3.2 seconds. But look at this. Lars Kramer is not close enough on the back of Lou this time around. And he's using up his ERS.
Surface.
He is.
Jensen's going around the outside of surface here now in turn 1. Can he make it stick though? He's down the inside now. Oh, but he's just... He's still going around the outside, still battling for it.
Took back into the slipstream, he might get him down the inside line. And in fact...
The switchback maybe?
No, loses the rear end on the exit. Loses the rear end on the entrance into the corner. And surface 3 and he's into 7th.
Black Box went a bit wide in turn 6 or turn 5 or 6 there, I believe. And he nearly lost the car, he managed to keep it on track.
Boltzmann, look at that rear right. Look at that front right tyre. Blistering occurring down the front right tyre. You can see the black line going through the centre of the tyre, and that shows that he's locking up into the corners. But not only that, he's beginning to lose that tyre. And is there going to be a puncture maybe towards the end of the race? I think Boltzmann has done enough.
He's lost 1.6 seconds off his best sector 2 there. and he's definitely got to manage those tyres, because all of his tyres, I believe, are blistering, apart from the rears, because he's locking up so much here.
Yeah, the rears actually, if he loses the rear end, the rears actually do overheat, and that is probably why you're not seeing as much degradation on those tyres, because they're probably so worn that they're on pretty much tread at this point. Lars Kramer, however, on the back of Lou for a final attempt down in towards turn number 1, doesn't get the move done. Maybe into turn 4 is the move that could be done. Boastman leads 2.5 seconds. I think he's done enough if he doesn't pick up a puncture. Lou and Lars Kramer, 2nd and 3rd, and I don't think Lars is close enough for this move, unless he sends a wild dive bomb down the inside line. I don't think that is Lars's, on Lars's agenda. So Lou in 2nd, Lars Kramer in 3rd. Where is Lars going to get this move done, though?
If I was Lars, I'd just be sticking behind him and trying to not make contact with him. And there's a yellow flag, and I think that's Rocco actually. And yeah, he slowed, and he didn't lose the car. He just completely slowed down. I wonder what that was about.
I think Rocco might be waiting up for the guys to overtake him out on track. Yeah, look at the gap. It's a 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, he might just want to finish the race here, I think. But Boastman's definitely won this race as long as he don't get a puncture. But if I was Kramer, I would just be sticking behind Lou here and just keeping the car on track.
That rear right is so blistered on Boastman's end. Rocco slows, but yeah, look at the battle in behind. Cut a lot, because there's a Lars Kramer black box. Where's this came from? Lou is within a second of Boastman. Boastman has only got 2 more corners to go. He's got a puncture. He's got a rear left, but he's got a front left puncture, and he's going to be taken. No. There goes Lou for the win. Lou has got the win, has he? It's Boastman who still steals it, and it's 0.3 seconds. Boastman picked up a puncture through the final corner. Left front puncture. You can see the tyre wobbling.
And Nathan, he's crashed on the line.
He has. He finishes in 6th, though, coming across the line. Oh, what a dramatic finish.
If Boastman lost the position, Boastman has just done a Lewis Hamilton 2020 British Grand Prix.
He has, but that could have been so much more different, I think. If that tyre exploded earlier on in that lap, Boastman would not have won that race. And I called it. I called it with that front left. The tyres were blistering. And they blistered too much, so it comes to show, and if you're taking notes at home, 12 laps around on a set of softs at Bahrain doesn't work.
I did say he should have gone onto those mediums, but he decides to go onto those softs, and he got the puncture in the end, but he still got the win, and I think he's happy with that.
Oh, he'll be over the moon, and it came down to 0.3 seconds, but that could have been so much more different from the perspective of Lars and from the perspective certainly of Boastman. Coming around the final corner way, Rocco, I think he's going to get the fastest lap of the race here. Rocco towards the line.
And he does.
Fastest lap, 26 flat. And that is that. That's the end of the race.
I'd be picking Black Box as driver of the day, and yes, there you go. Wait, Boastman. Yeah, definitely. Why did I say Black Box? Boastman. I'd definitely be picking him as driver of the day.
If you want to pick Black Box Driver of the Day, you can pick Black Box Driver of the Day. The game obviously thinks otherwise, as Boastman takes to the top step of the podium, and it's a Brit on top in the first pre-season race here for FRL. Boastman has taken the win in dramatic circumstances. His tyre punctured out of the final 2 corners. I cannot wait. I hope he's got a mic, and I hope he wants to be interviewed, because I want to see what his reaction is to that. But Boastman on top. Really, really good drive by Lars Kramer, and from the likes of Surface in behind as well. But we'll run you down the full grid order before we go into the interviews. And it's Boastman out on top from Lars Kramer in 2nd. Look at that, 0.4 seconds separating the 1st and 2nd. Lou is in 3rd. Kazizel in 4th. Black Box in 5th. Nathan in 6th. Jensen in 7th. Surface in 8th. T-Hawk finished in 9th. Rocco picked up the fastest lap as well, so he picks up an extra point in P10. Denzo, Burrell, Baraka, Macho, and the one and only Ties right down the back of the field, all DNFing. Boastman though out on top. Lars Kramer 2nd. Lou in 3rd. Oh, shall we do the interviews?
Yeah, I think we should.
I will join that party then and set it up so everyone knows where to go, and I will see you in a bit. So I'm just leaving the party now. Apologies about the blue screen. I'm just going to join up in. But I'm now going to join the party, and hopefully we'll get some interviewees in to, well, talk us through what was a real dramatic race here in FRL, in F1. We're back with a bang, everyone. And Boltzmann obviously took the win out on track. I really hope he does come in for an interview. T-Hawk has joined us in the party. We'll wait on the other guys to join, with Charlie joining as well, my good cool commentator. But there is the man who finished in P1. It is Boltzmann, and Boltzmann, that was a nervy final 2 corners. I did say at the start of the race that you could be one to watch out for from 15th position. Not in my wildest dreams, I would see you in P1 whatsoever. But talk us through that race from your perspective, because you looked absolutely electric on that set of hards. Pretty straight. Yeah, I was gonna say pretty strong race, definitely from you. Apparently we can't hear you on the stream. The good old party settings. I'll remind everyone at this point, make sure your party settings is on so we can hear your lovely, lovely voices.
It's always the PS5.
Share your voice aloud, yeah, there we go.
There we are. So hopefully we can now hear Boltzmann, and we'll ask you the first question once again. Talk us through that race, because that was a very, very nervy final couple of corners.
Yeah, so obviously started on hards. I think there was only Denzo as well on the hards, so I was just planning to just really like follow him through and match my pace to him, but I managed to get past him, then stick with the soft runners in the DRS, then try and build a gap. I think a few people were going on 2 stops on the medium, so yeah, I was going to get in on them as well, and yeah, got a bit lucky with a safety car, but I reckon I've at least got a podium coming back on the softs anyway, so yeah, considering the lobby, I reckon my pace was quite decent, but I probably used my luck too soon.
Yeah, your pace was very decent, I've got to say. I was expecting you to pull away a little bit more than what you did actually on that set of soft compound tyre. You only pulled away by about 4 seconds. And then, obviously, that happened at turn 14. You picked up a front left puncture. You must have been so nervy to try and get that car coming across the line.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't pull as much a gap, I was trying to save the front left a little bit, as obviously if I would have went full out, I would have got a puncture way before then, I wouldn't have got to where I was, so I was kind of looking after it a bit, but yeah, I thought, go on the soft, try and pull a bit of a gap. If I would have went on mediums, I probably would have been overtaken anyway, so why not try something different?
Yeah, why not try something different indeed, and obviously from 15th on the grid to 1st, a very, very good, strong performance from you. Charlie, any questions for Boltzmann? I think I caught you a bit off guard there.
Accidentally went on mute.
Any questions?
I think all my questions have been answered already after that.
We'll move swiftly on then. Obviously with the pre-season race 2 coming up in, I think it's Spain if I'm not mistaken. How do you feel you're going to get on around there? Because Spain is one of those tracks that we love as a commentator, but the drivers absolutely hate.
Traditionally I've usually done quite good on Spain. I've actually one of my quicker tracks, but just the standard in this tier, I'd probably say I'd be doing the same thing, starting on the hards, maybe go to mediums or something, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Have to see what happens in... Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's a crazy competitive.
Crazy competitive. That's what you get when you bring Relentless Nathan and XL Rocco into play, and that's really brings about the really good driving. I've got to say, really good driving from everyone out on track. Great battles up and down the field. Boltzmann, now go and enjoy your evening.
Yep. Yeah, gonna grab a beer, celebrate the style.
We we don't condone drinking to all of the under 18s that we've got now viewing us in the interviews, but there we are. We'll move on then swiftly to, I'm just trying to see actually who we've actually got in the party. I'm just getting it up. 2 seconds. Obviously my iPad doesn't want to play ball. Let me have a look at who is in the party. Chat amongst yourselves while I try and get this ready.
I think it's Mr. Lulu, as we all call him.
Yeah.
Lulu.
Or Kisses. One of those.
One of them. I think it's Lou, actually, who finished in P3, if I'm not mistaken. And Lou, obviously a great performance from your perspective, had the pace through the race. Talk us through it.
Yeah, the start was, well, first, qualifying actually, went very well. 24.6, I guess. That was my time. I mean, I was very proud of it, so yeah. But then the start, it was so stressful. I had no grip. So a few cars flew past me, and I couldn't do anything about it. But I came back later, also because of the safety car and the virtual safety car. That helped also. And yeah, P3. So yeah, I'm very proud actually.
Yeah, you were. I think you were 0.02 of a second off Kazizel in qualifying. So obviously you had the pace in qualifying. Just talk us through that safety car period though, because it was quite a nervy period. Did you feel that you'll be as close to Boastman as what you actually were towards the end of the race?
Well, first to the, when the safety car came out, what I was thinking, like, oh no, my 3-second penalty, because I had that, because I went wide with a battle with Nathan, I guess it was. So that was not ideal for me, but I had a little luck over there, because Black Box and I don't know the other one picked up also 3 seconds, so yeah, still got a podium.
Yeah, really impressive podium, I've got to say as well. And just coming on to this tier in terms of the pace, you're right up there in terms of the top guys going into Bahrain. But how do you adapt yourself going in towards the next pre-season race, and obviously in towards the season as well?
I think I need to practice a lot, because some guys are really quick. And yeah, I will see how that goes.
We'll have to see how it goes. I forgot, by the way. Charlie, have you got any questions?
No, I don't think I do.
Well, if you want to ask a question, you can always ask the guys as we interview them as we go along. But, Lou, go and enjoy your evening.
Thanks. Thanks for commentating also.
You're very welcome. You'll get used to me as we go along, I think. But moving on now to the man who finished in P4, it was Kazizel. And Kazizel, obviously you were reserving, I think, tonight. This was a trial race for you. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, quali went decent actually. I was actually like pretty happy with my lap, to be fair. Like, I mean, there was like a mistake or two in it, but like I was second, so I was pretty happy with that. And then I don't know, I think I ended up getting up to P1 somehow, and then I was like, oh, this is alright. Then he got back past, and I was fine with it, to be fair, because I had the pace to stay within a second easily. And then I think it was on lap 6. I was trying to like duke him to like stay out, and then I was going to come into the pits. But by doing that, I completely missed my braking point and just like got the 5-second penalty, which really hurt. And then like 2 laps later, the VSC came out, and I was like, oh, for goodness sake. So I lost a bit of a position or two there. Yeah, I just tried to stay in DRS, and then the safety car came out, and I had to serve that 5 seconds, which yet again hurt a lot. I think I was like P3 before the safety car, and then afterwards I was like P7, so from that point onwards it was literally me just trying to get back, you know, the positions I lost.
Yeah, you were caught up in that wash, I think, in that battle with Black Box and the likes as well. Talk us through that safety car period, because obviously it was quite a stressful time, I think, from your perspective. Did you feel that you had the pace to try and get up further up the field as you did?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I could have gone further, but it's just really hard to overtake when everyone's got DRS, to be fair, because it's just like when one person has DRS in front, it's just like, it literally, you can't do anything about it, so I just tried my best to, like, if someone made a mistake, just try and get through, but it's just like not much you can do when everyone's in that sort of terrain.
Yeah, and obviously, Charlie, I'll come on to you before I forget. Any questions?
How does it feel to be even though you're just a reserve, do you think that you could become a full-time driver for F1, considering the performance you put on today?
Maybe, I don't know. It's definitely not up to me. Like, yeah, but yeah, I think maybe, but I literally couldn't say anything else because I don't really have a say in it.
Well, I really hope we do see you in FRL. I'm just trying to hint to the admins here that he is a very quick driver and he knows his way about the track. So, before you go though, obviously going into Spain next week, how do you think you're going to get on?
I mean, my TT time's alright. I've got like 14.0, so hopefully I'll do alright. But I mean, TT never really means anything when it actually comes to it, because you need to be able to do the lap when it actually comes to it. To be fair, I've always liked Spain, so let's just see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens indeed. It's good to see as well that your voice has dropped since the last time I was here in FRL, because I remember just the voice. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It must have been pain.
I'm glad to see it's all changed though. It's fantastic to see. Go and enjoy your evening though.
Cheers. Good night, everyone.
And we will now move on to the man who finished in... I don't think we got Black Box. I don't think we've got Nathan. So, Jensen, finishing in P7. You got well and truly floundered out on track in terms of the pace. Talk us through it.
I mean, I'd say pace I was unexpected really, because I thought I'd be right further down at Bahrain, but I was right up there for most of it. But I think most of the race, it was just people, like lap 1, people were just sticking their nose in everywhere, and it just put me offline. And the car behind was on the racing line when it came through me, then I was still offline every single time, and yeah, just got rinsed lap 1. But I mean, yeah, after that it was just trying to keep up with the guys, and felt a bit lucky at that VSC as well, because I actually overtook a few people under the that safety car pit stop wise, and I came out ahead of like Surface and Casizzle, which was pretty decent. But yeah, the pace, it's struggled a bit really to keep up with the guys in front. Safety car didn't really help too much as well, because it got punted and back by Rocco, which lost me another 3 positions, and he never gave it back on the straight, which I was a bit annoyed with, and he could have done something different there. But I mean, it's only pre-season, so not going to make too much of a fuss of it. But in the end, P7, probably expected like probably a top 5 maybe with that quality pace, but I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, I guess I'll move on to Spain, and yeah, congratulations to Boastman. Brilliant strategy as well to get those softs to the end, and just about making them to the end. So yeah, big props to him, and yeah, just move on to the next one.
Do you feel that you might have now, obviously you're the defending champion coming into this season, so there's no pressure, but do you feel from that Bahrain race that other drivers have now caught up with you in terms of the pace, and certainly with a few of the returning guys as well, like Casizzle and Surface? Is that a factor to try and take in going forward?
Well, of course. I mean, yeah, all the standard of driving, the standard of drivers this season for F1 is incredible. I mean, it's probably the best F1 grid we've seen for a while or ever in FRL, so it's great to see this level of competition. I can't wait for this season, because it's, I mean, I'm not going to count myself out of the championship fight. I think I've got a good chance of getting it again, but yeah, it's not going to be easy this time around, so yeah, can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'll say this now to everyone really, it's all about consistency within your results as well. And the more consistent you are, like Jensen was last season, you might get well and truly rewarded with the Drivers' Championship in FRL. And I'll just come on to as well about FRL in the past. The only time I think we were as quick as what we were is when I was driving. So, make of that as what you will though. Charlie, any questions?
Jensen, do you think you could maybe perform better in Spain or performed a lot more better today? Because I think a lot of people might have expected you to be further up the grid considering your performance you had last season in F1.
Bahrain's never been a strong track for me, and I feel equipment and like controller cross wheel makes a big difference, as well as assist handicaps as well. So if you're running, let's just say ABS, you'll have a massive advantage under the brakes. You probably, if you look at the time trial times, the world record is 3/10 ahead of the highest no assist time, because you expect those guys to be the quickest about. So I mean, Spain is quite equal between pad, ABS and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I think everyone will be on equal pace, so everyone will be able to show what their true pace is. And Spain's always been one of my best tracks, so I'm gonna aim for the win.
Yeah, aim for the win, I think, indeed, and that's what we're going to be hoping for, obviously, from Spain, and hopefully you're going to be again up there with the pace in terms of the on-track action next week. Go and enjoy your evening, though, Jensen.
Yep, cheers and thanks for the commentary, guys.
Very welcome
good.
Indeed. The final man we are now going to move on to is Mr. T-Hawk, and T-Hawk finishing in P9 in the end. Not the start that you would have wanted, though, with a spin coming through turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a spin. I think it was more like me getting sandwiched between Macho and Denso. I don't know, I guess that's just one of the things that can happen towards the back end of the midfield. Managed to get a good start, as expected, to get ahead of Macho, as expected. And then he just understeered into me and Denso. That was quite unexpected, and that just set me back for the rest of the race, pretty much.
Yeah, it set you back for the rest of the race, obviously, but in terms of the safety car, you obviously caught back up within the field. Did you have a spin, or did you get caught up in another incident after the safety car had ended?
Yeah, directly at the restart, I got a poor restart because I was on hards. Because of poor strategy decisions from me. So I had to defend from, I think it was Nathan behind me. So I went very deep into turn 1, very late. But because of the car in front, I had such a toe that I was about to hit him, so I tried to avoid him to the inside. And Nathan was still beside me, so I basically just cut across him, and that just made me spin out. But yeah, I mean, I think at that point, battling for the second to last position, my race was pretty much already done, nonetheless.
Well, you must still be happy to get one over on Rocco, though, because Rocco finished obviously in P10, about 40 seconds, I think, behind you in the end. Going obviously towards Spain and towards the start of the season as well, how do you adapt to what this performance was? Do you feel that you can give more in Spain?
Definitely. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of practice around Bahrain. It used to be one of my favorite tracks, but now with the curbs and especially the way that the medium and hard tires feel around Bahrain, I'm just not very comfortable. Still good enough to beat Macho. But yeah, Spain. I think Spain, I put in a little bit more practice. I have more time to put in some extra practice. I have a decent setup. I don't know how the tires will feel around there, but I think just in general, the flow of the circuit and the curbs and all that should suit me a lot more. But then again, as Jensen has already said, it is going to be difficult to put up against those drivers using pad or ABS. I just heard in the Discord one particular driver being so, I don't want to say frustrated, but pretty much frustrated that he's thinking about putting on ABS again. So it seems like that is quite a big advantage, but I just have to, I guess, practice even harder to also beat those that do use ABS, and that way hopefully I can find myself somewhere in the top 10, top 8, something like that.
Yeah, it'll be good to see how obviously you adapt to Spain as well. Charlie, I forgot to come to you. Any questions?
No questions from me.
No questions for me. That ends then T-Hawk's interview. T-Hawk, thank you.
Cheers, and thanks to both of you for commentary. I'm sure it was fantastic.
Honestly, watch it back. Watch everything back. It was brilliant. And Charlie as well. I've got to give credit to Charlie. First commentary, and he comes out with a performance like that. I think we've got a little star in the making, maybe, as my co-commentator alongside me. Hopefully, as well, for the rest of the season moving forward here in FRL. And Charlie, I'm sure you want to try and give your driver of the day.
Driver of the day would be going to, God, I don't want to get the name wrong again.
You said Black Box last time.
Yeah, I did not mean to say Black Box. It was Boastman. Boastman, driver of the day.
Yeah, I think we're both in agreement. I think Boastman definitely gets driver of the day. Fantastic performance, 15th on the grid, up to first. And when I say watch out for a driver, I well and truly mean it. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But thank you so much to everyone who was tuned in for FRL tonight across F1 and F2. Of course, you can catch both live streams when we're finished here, of course, on F1. You can already catch the F2 live stream as well. Fantastic commentary, of course, from... It was Bullboy and old Stephen, wasn't it, for F2?
Yeah. Yep.
I was... Thank goodness I said both their names right, otherwise I would have been maybe getting a slap wrist if I got the commentators wrong for F2, but there we are. That marks, though, the end of tonight, and of course we've got more action to come for you next week. F3 and F4 are on a Monday, and F1 and F2 are on a Tuesday, of course. Second pre-season race around Spain, Monday 7 PM, Tuesday 7 PM. Do not miss out at all, and to thank as well... We've got 5 new subscribers on the channel tonight, which is very good indeed. So thank you to each and every one of you who has subscribed to the channel. And if we can get towards 700 by mid-season, that'll be fantastic. And that'll set us a real good target, I think, for FRL moving forward. But for myself and from Charlie, please stay safe in this crazy world that we all live in. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, goodbye.